Hello, welcome to another episode of The Emerging Artist. I'm Edith and we are on this journey together. Today, I hope you're well. I hope you're well every day, but today especially, I'm really excited because I'm going to take you with me on the journey of a piece, from conception, creation to becoming a show and sharing it with people, with audiences. I spoke in one of the last episodes about the effort and the sweats and the tears that go behind making something, making an art piece, whether it being, writing a song and then performing it live, or creating a theater piece, creating a dance performance. And I thought that it's a nice time for me to share with you where I am on this journey, because I'm working on a piece. I've been working on a piece for quite some time now, and it's taking shape and it's growing and it's becoming what I envisioned it to become. So I thought it's a nice time at a nice moment in time for me to share that with you. And I hope that it kind of helps you see how much artists put into their work, rather than just, I feel like maybe some people, if they don't have artist friends, or if they don't think about it that much, they think, oh yeah, we'll just put something together and it's happening like that. But I think it's important to talk about this, because when I was starting out, I would see shows and I would see like people bringing out work after work after work, and obviously I knew how much work it takes, but I felt so behind that I couldn't bash out a piece every year, or like every other month. Like I was like, how do these productions like do it, year after year, and they have a new show and there's always something new happening. And by being in this journey, by seeing how people actually, independent artists take way longer to make something, and I now understand why, and actually I'm experiencing that, and it makes me feel way better about myself. And I just feel like this is what needs to be happening right now, instead of being like, oh, why haven't I done this earlier? Why haven't we got that and got this and put on a show earlier? No, it's exactly where it needs to be. And these are the steps that have taken me here so far. And these are the steps that I'm taking further. So I hope this talk today inspires you and it gives you some encouragement, and it also empowers you to keep going. So in today's episode, I'm breaking down all the steps and the timeline of my latest dance performance, Witching. Witching is a piece that's inspired by archetypes from Greek mythology. It's inspired by the historic events that happened in Scotland and England around witch hunts in the medieval times. And still the same elements is still a reason why women and vulnerable people are still marginalized today. So it was really important for me to find a way to embody this experience, this lived experience, and to share this message with the world. So the idea of witching came to me about 2022, so it's about 3 years ago now. And it was because I was thinking of some figures from Greek mythology, and I remember kind of reflecting on how we've been taught about these women in school. So there's several figures like in Odyssey, or like, that are witches and they're bringers of misfortune, and there's always something evil about them. There's always something, it's like a bad omen when they see you, when they speak to you. And I just felt like in my age and in this time, I was like, something doesn't fit that. And I was like, how come I remember these women like this, and it's not like, oh, they're actually powerful. Oh, they're actually really connected with themselves and with nature, and they were very intuitive. They were able to heal people because they knew about herbs and all the different, potions that they could make. They were associated with magic. So I just thought that was a moment of clarity, and I was like, wait a minute. And so by pure coincidence, I was working at Tate at that time, and by pure coincidence, there was a book that came out that is called I always mess up the title. It's called Witches, Warriors, Women. And it's from a journalist and a collaboration with an illustrator. And it basically has profiles of archetypes of women that were figures in mythologies, and it starts from Greek mythology. It actually, in a couple of pages for every woman, it's like it tells the real story, or it tells like a different narrative from the bad witch or bad evil witch or something. And I just felt really validated at that moment, because I was like, oh, so other people see it as well. And it's because it was my own experience, obviously being Greek. I was very passionate about that. And I was like, well, if we're being taught that in school from a really young age, then it's a kind of narrative that continues on and on and on. And then that was one point. And then because it started talking about witches, but witches as in like not real people that were called witches. Then I thought, hang on a minute, there was a moment in history in England and Scotland where witch hunts took place, and they were chasing real people. Real people got prosecuted and executed, accusing them for witchcraft, which was illegal. And I was fascinated because I thought there was such a connection between the way that women have been viewed throughout history and mythology to an actual historical event. And obviously it took place in Germany as well, and parts of France, and yes, but I kind of focused in Scotland and England because I live in the UK. So that was really interesting to me. And I started learning about kind of the timeline of this historic event. And I was deeply shaken because I knew about the witch hunts as it happening in history, but I had never learned, or I had never realized the extent of it. And of course, because I've talked to historians about this, and I've talked to kind of consultants around that matter, they always say that it was such a brief moment in history. So it didn't last very long, but it was so intense because most of the women that were executed most of the people that were executed, because obviously there were some children and there were some men that were accused of witchcraft, but most of the people were women. And if you see kind of the data around it, there were women who were older, there were women who were single, there were women who were childless. So it just made me kind of connect the threads with what's happened from mythology to history to the current times, because these are sadly such relevant and such like current challenges and issues that I was like, this is the piece. It needs to be told, it needs to be experienced, and it needs to be channeled through a bodily experience that will be shared with the audience. So that was 2022. I stayed with it for a good while, and I was sensing, what can I do? How can I approach this? And we're talking, I haven't been in the studio yet. Like I was doing other things at the time, but it was just an idea in my head that I was playing around and I was like really, really curious. I had this eagerness to dive into. And then my collaborator Olga at the time, we had some coffees, we had some chats, and I really felt, well, since I met her, that I felt like really connected to the way we think similarly and the way we work together. So I remember going for a coffee with her and I was like, I have this idea for a piece. Do you want to work on this with me? And she said yes. And we didn't even talk about how we're going to work together. We were just like, yes, I'm really into that theme. And yeah. And so we started going, so we're now summer or autumn 2022, right? So going into 2023 early on, so we're talking about December 2022 and January 2023, we started going into the studio, but like really casually, the two of us, just to explore through material this idea of witching. And our method is performing materialities, so we literally did that workshop onto ourselves with material just to begin to see what can come out of a very, very like initial idea, a seed of the idea. So then we move on to January 2023, and there's a call out from Theatre Delhi, our amazing partners. Love you guys at Theatre Delhi. And there was a call out for Shift in Space. Look it up if you want to receive R&D space and an opportunity to show some work in progress. Shift in Space. So we put in an application for Shift in Space for summer 2023, and we're delighted that we get selected. So we had the opportunity for 1 week free space for R&D, and then 2 shows at the end of that week to show some work in progress. I know I've talked about them before. So Hyperized Duet, Carolina Corin, Konstantinos Damianakis, I've known them before. I've collaborated with them many times. We really vibe. They're really amazing artists. And so I go to them and I'm like, I have this idea. Are you guys in? I want to bring you as sound artists and as performers. And they're really in. So that was our chance. July 2023. So a year after I kind of got the idea as a concept, we do this R&D for a week and we do 4 shows because we're extra, and it went so amazingly well. We got lots of material, we got pictures, we got a video for a trailer, and we got some money from the tickets because it was like donation based. So I was able to pay my collaborators for the shows. Obviously, the R&D was unpaid at that time because it was more of like an initial thing. So, but that was really, really useful for initial findings and to show the people what we've been doing. And we got such great feedback, and there was a real appreciation about the theme and the way it's been treated through the work. Now, fast forward from 2023, right? We have 2025 now. Fast forward to September 2025, and all this time, Olga and I are thinking about how to make this work because we cannot do another unpaid R&D, and we would never bring anyone to work for free, and we wouldn't work for free ourselves to do the R&D. So we were like, we need some funding. Let's begin to prepare an application. Now, preparing an application for Arts Council England it's long. Whoever has put in one, I salute you. It's so long. Our application ended up being 97 pages. I kid you not. So in order to build that, it has taken us 1 year of kind of putting together the actual project for an R&D and pulling the creative team together, organizing the timeline, the budget, everything that needs to happen in project management. And then from there, it has taken us 6 or 7 months of intensive, and I'm talking intensive, writing and editing, answering the questions, the 14 questions in such detail of the application that I feel exhausted. But that's normal. But the application went in. Now we have to wait 9 weeks to see if we got the funding so we can begin the second phase of R&D, which will be about really fine-tuning all the elements and expanding the creative team and bringing more of the community to give us feedback and to work with us to explore and expand the project. And this is such an exciting journey. And it was very tiring because when you're a project lead and you want to make things happen for you, you also have to fundraise, you have to write applications, you have to do tons of stuff that you don't, you're not necessarily either you don't want to spend your time and energy doing that, but there's no other way for the resources that we have now. So all in all, I've been developing witching, and we've been developing witching with Olga for the past 3 years, haven't been in the studio only for 1 week. It feels crazy to say that. It feels mad. But this is part of the journey, and I just wanted to share with you what's happened so far. And I want to show you this as well. So, this wonderful book, because obviously all this time, I know it's been 3 years, I know we haven't been in the studio that much over these 3 years, but we've been having so many conversations with people, and I've been reading books about people who have kind of a similar approach. And one of those is this, which is freshly published, and it's called How to Kill a Witch, and it's by the Witches of Scotland, Zoe Ventatoci and Claire Mitchell and Zoe Ventatoci. And these women have been such an inspiration for me because their campaign, Witches of Scotland, look it up. They also have a really, really great podcast with so much info that's helped me so much with my research. But their campaign is a social justice campaign, and it showed me how interdisciplinary a project can be and how much input you can get and turning it into a creative output. So for this second R&D that we're doing, we're going to work with historians, we're going to work actually with Witches of Scotland, and we're going to work with a dramaturg and a light designer, and I can't wait to get the funding so we can get started, or rather we can pick it up from where we left it last time. So yeah, that's been the journey of witching so far. Stay tuned because we're gonna have shows in London, and we're gonna start forming a tour. So wherever you're listening from, I'm pretty confident you can catch us and we can come to you. So this has been such an exciting and tough journey for me so far, but I am very, very positive about where it's going, and I'm very positive that the message that needs to be communicated and shared and reflected upon is going to get out there, and this is really why we're doing this. There you have it. That was the episode about journey of an art performance from conception to realization. Send me your part of the journey. Where are you at? Are you filling in your 305th application for funding? Are you applying for jobs? Are you lost? Are you found? However you're feeling, I want you to know that this is such a normal part of the journey, and it is the journey itself. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.